If you're reading this, you're probably as confused as I was. Let me start from the beginning. It's the only way any of this will make sense, and perhaps the only way you'll believe me. Everything started with that damn job, mall security. Sounds thrilling, doesn't it? Graveyard shifts at a shopping center, wandering dark, empty halls to make sure nobody snuck in overnight. Ironically, those nights weren't bad at all. It was the daytime shifts that truly wore me down. Kids running wild, food messes everywhere, and having to play babysitter more than security guard. Honestly, I felt more like a janitor with a badge. That's why I preferred the night shifts, even if the place was eerie when silent and empty. It grew on me. The peace of an abandoned mall was oddly comforting. Occasionally, I had minor incidents, teens sneaking into the food court, but nothing serious. But everything changed the day I discovered the basement. Out of sheer boredom, I explored every unlocked room and closet, but they were all ordinary utility spaces until I found that strange door. It was tucked away at the end of a forgotten hallway, hidden behind old, dusty mannequins in a vacant store. It was heavy steel, painted a faded yellow. After fiddling with my large key ring, I finally opened it with a key I'd never used. Inside wasn't just another storage room. It was a staircase, a dark, concrete stairwell descending into absolute darkness. I expected a short maintenance access, but the stairs went down far deeper than any mall basement had a right to. Curiosity nearly pulled me down then and there, but a strange anxiety stopped me. I left, locking the door behind me, promising myself I'd explore another night. Yet that night, sleep eluded me, my thoughts endlessly circling that dark stairway. The mystery of it clawed at my mind, urging me to investigate further. The next evening, I rushed through my patrol, returning quickly to the door. I propped it open with one of the mannequins just to be safe, and started my descent. The staircase seemed endless. My flashlight barely penetrated the gloom, the stairs spiraling down so far that after hundreds of steps, the entrance above was just a tiny square of distant light. Still, I pressed on, determined to solve this mystery. After nearly an hour, I reached the bottom of a bare concrete landing with an elevator. It was old, ornate, and out of place beneath a mall. It had only one button, downward. Hesitation gripped me, but my curiosity was stronger. Unlocking it with my key, I entered and pressed the button. The elevator groaned as it descended, slowly at first, then smoothly. Minutes turned into hours, or felt like it, as I realized I was trapped without controls to reverse the elevator's course. Panic crept in, but before I could act, a sudden metallic clang echoed, and the elevator plummeted. Miraculously, I survived. Crawling out, battered and bruised, I found myself in a place that defied all logic. A mall, eerily similar yet different from mine, buried deep beneath the earth. It was abandoned but strangely stocked, with food still fresh and merchandise untouched. It was surreal and frightening. Days passed as I searched desperately for an exit, surviving on scavenged food and sleeping in makeshift shelters. I was not alone. Horrific humanoid creatures stalked the halls, gaunt beings with hollow eyes and twisted limbs, driven mad by isolation. One night, a monstrous entity attacked me, injuring me severely. Left for dead, I awoke later, my wounds impossibly healing, but trapped in an endless concrete corridor filled with grotesque, immobilized figures, each disturbingly familiar. Then finally, I found my way out, through a door held ajar by a mannequin, the same one I'd placed earlier. Somehow I returned to the original mall, yet it was different, altered somehow. I wandered endlessly, encountering other versions of myself, each trapped, each hopeless. This letter is my final attempt at breaking this endless cycle. I don't know how many decades I've wandered this place, never aging, trapped in a nightmarish loop. I'm certain the creatures I've encountered were once people like me, lost and twisted by this madness. Over time, the encounters with alternate versions of myself became more frequent and bizarre. I discovered camps of survivors who looked exactly like me. Some desperate and fearful, others resigned and hollow. We shared stories, resources, and theories. But inevitably, those communities fell apart due to madness or attacks from the monstrosities lurking in the dark corridors. I began to map the place, marking walls and doors, desperate for some sign of change or an exit. But every marking vanished within days, replaced by identical blank surfaces. My sanity wore thin. The creatures became bolder, their cries echoing endlessly in my mind, driving me deeper into paranoia and despair. Eventually, I found myself compelled back to the staircase. Perhaps it was madness or hope, but I climbed upwards this time. After hours, I reached a door. Trembling, I opened it only to find myself back at the bottom of the same stairwell, the elevator awaiting me mockingly. There was no escape. I've tried everything, jumping from heights, starvation, even confronting the largest creatures, but nothing grants release. The wounds heal, the pain remains. I'm trapped in eternal torment, forced to wander this cursed place forever. In desperation, I tried to communicate with the others, setting up elaborate signals and leaving messages everywhere. At first it seemed to work. We formed a fragile alliance, pooling our knowledge, hoping to unlock some secret buried deep within the maze. Yet with every revelation came only more confusion. We discovered hidden rooms containing nothing but mirrors, reflecting infinite versions of ourselves in every twisted state imaginable. We theorized that the mall itself was sentient, toying with us, shaping our despair into grotesque forms. In our madness, some began worshipping the mall, believing appeasement could grant mercy. Cults formed, fractured, and collapsed repeatedly in cycles of hope and betrayal. Violence became common as despair led to rage, turning brothers into monsters. As centuries passed, or so it felt, I saw countless iterations of myself succumb to madness or violence. Hope became a forgotten concept. But recently, something changed. I started noticing subtle differences in new versions arriving at this place. They seemed less broken, still carrying sparks of determination. Could it mean the loop is weakening, or perhaps evolving? Perhaps it is wishful thinking, another cruel trick. Yet despite everything, I cling to this fragile strand of hope. If you're reading this, perhaps you hold the key that none of us have yet found. Maybe you will discover the truth hidden deep within this endless nightmare. If you find yourself at that pale yellow door, step carefully. Perhaps your fate can still be changed. He'll be waiting for you,